systems nominal.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, mech enthusiasts of all ages, I am Zero Sum and this is Front Mission First. Well, specifically it's Front Mission First the remake. This came out of end of June this year, developed by Forever Entertainment, published by Square Enix. It is, as I said, a remake of the DS version of Front Mission First, which came out in 2007. Itself a port of the PlayStation version in 2003. Itself an expanded port of the original Super Famicom version, the original Front Mission without the first, which released in 1995. So suffice to say, this game had a very long, complicated history of how it got to where we are right now. I mean, the same could be said for the entire Front Mission series. I mean, let's face facts there. In any case, the original one was developed by G-Craft, published by Square, and is the very first, I think, strategy RPG published by Square, before Bahamut Lagoon, certainly before Final Fantasy Tactics. The Front Mission series has got some pedigree to it, and it's well beloved to this day, minus one or two spin-off games. But we won't get into that. We're just focusing right now on the original, of which this is an extremely faithful remake, for good and for ill, as we'll get into. So, how's it working on PC? Honestly, I haven't run into any issues. You got full mouse capability, no problem there. If we go to new game, skip the tutorial. You have two different versions you can play. The classic version here keeps the same camera and is basically the original Front Mission First game with a new coat of paint. The modern version adds a few perspective changes you can do. You're able to rotate and alter the camera, as we'll see. Also includes the tactical map, which we'll also see once we get into a fight, and various fixes and improvements, including a fully remastered soundtrack. So that's pretty cool as well. We won't be going into that very much. Honestly, the game plays very well. I haven't run into any bugs so far. Haven't run into any performance issues. The game runs very, very smoothly. Also, I like the fact that my primary Wanzer here, or Wanderpanzer, the name they give for the mechs in this setting, is available right here on the main menu in its current customization form too. So that's always a nice little touch. I like that. Anyway, let's get started with this. Oh, and before I do, sound test, you can actually compare the original and remastered soundtracks to the game, so which is kind of cool. It's just one of those nice little touches. Something I appreciate. Alright. So what is Front Mission? So I've previously done a review of Front Mission Gun Hazard, the second game in the series, which is odd considering it's not technically an official Front Mission game. Long story. You already know that story. You watched that video, didn't you? Of course you did. How could you not? In any case, this setting takes place in 2090 during a series of wars between various global super blocks of various countries whose national identities all blurred together for various economic and defense pacts. The ones we're considering today for this game are the OCU, the Oceanic Cooperative Union, and the UCS, the United Continental States, originally known as the USN, the United States of the New Continent. They changed it up for the new version. I think it was changed for the Front Mission First, not just this one. I mean, the original Front Mission First, not the remake Front Mission First. I'm getting cross-eyed. These two groups, so the first one is an alliance of various South Asian, Southeast Asian and countries, Australia, Japan, all they come together in a mutual defense pact. Not China, they have their own thing. And the UCS is North America, South America, and Central America, all bundled into one single basic government. And these two super blocks do not get along in the slightest, especially since in the alt history of this setting in 1995, a series of volcanic eruptions resulted in the upheaval of a chunk of the Pacific Ocean, resulting in a new landmass about the size of Oahu called Huffman Island. Well, it would be called Huffman Island once I gave it a name. The UCS decided to colonize it, and so did the OCU, and this resulted in the first Huffman conflict, which was a pretty nasty war between these two superpowers. Now, things have calmed down for a bit, and then you turn up. Specifically, this guy here, Roy Clive, who is a captain in the OCU Army. He was sent to the Larkus district of Huffman Island to investigate a possible weapons development area for the USN. Unfortunately, things did not go well. His unit was ambushed, his fiancée, who was on recon duty, got killed, and it sparked the second Huffman conflict. Suffice to say, he did not take it well. In the year that passed after that, he, went from one arena to another, just, probably looking for a way to die in a blaze of glory, frankly. Guy's got a bit of a death wish. Only to be recruited by a guy named Colonel Olson for the Canyon Crows mercenary unit, which he is now currently leading, along with a motley crew of old friends, new acquaintances, and varying psychos. As well as, at least one reporter is along for the story. This guy, who we recruited, and a couple of guys who we recruited by beating the crap out of them in the arena. Suffice to say, it's an interesting group of people. So, yeah, here is Huffman Island. So as you can see, the game has a nice look to it. All of the different cities that I've been to. So how does this game play? You basically play, you have 3 different modes. There's the basic missions that you go on. So for instance, if I go to the military world, I'll talk to the commander and he'll, send me on my next one. We'll be able to see that. You have these menu-driven areas where we go to various places. So for instance, the bar here, Neobliss, where we can just talk to people and get some rumors and some basic information about the world. There's some suspicious Wanzers are spotted near the Mail River Dam. Also hints at what future missions are going to be, of course. And occasionally you run into people that you can then either get some information from or recruit possibly into your squad. That's what I did with at least one of them in one bar. Yeah, I know. He's one of the guys I recruited. He's currently on my team. And Renegade UCS troops aiming to cut us off. Yeah, there probably are. Hope nobody gets that idea. Still, should we check it out? It's your call, Captain. Oh, hell. Okay, that's interesting. I think we maybe just gotten a special mission there. So, that's the kind of thing you do in your spare time. There's also, of course, setting up your Wanzers, which is going to take a lot of your time as well. Especially once you get a bunch of them. The one thing that this game does, a lot of games like the current versions of XCOM and various other ones have a pretty small limit to your squad of, people that you can, fighters that you can bring along on these missions that you go on. Here, you have no such problem for the most part. You can bring a whole bunch of folks with you. However, that does mean that you're going to be spending a lot of time micromanaging all their stuff. So, I've pimped out all their mechs with the latest and greatest in firepower, as you can see. Lots of really nice stuff. So let's take a look at our main guy here, Lloyd's Ride. So, how does this work? Your Wanzers are made up of 4 different sections. The body, left arm, right arm, and legs. Body controls, as you can see here, you have defense, hit points, power. The weight to power ratio determines the limit of the amount of stuff you can put onto your mech. The more power you have, the more stuff you can carry on because your engines can actually handle the weight. If it goes above 100%, well, you can't bring out your mech. So bear that in mind. If you need extra ones, you either need to upgrade your body to something with a bit more power to it or attach a backpack here that can provide additional generator. Left arm, for instance here. Arms are defined by defense and HP as well, but also your hit chance. It's basically the accuracy, how strong the arm is, how well it handles recoil, how stable it is as a firing platform. And your legs, in this case, let's see, which one have I got here? Yeah, this one here, which also gives a bit of power. These ones come in different varieties. These ones are tread legs. You also have walkers, as you can imagine, hover legs, wheeled tracked. So each one, depending on the terrain, will have different capabilities. So as you can imagine, this one determines how many squares you can move in battle. And all the total gives you your weight. So you have a lot of ability to customize these mechs. So not only that, but you can also add various CPUs that change up your skill set. increase or give bonuses to various skills, such as in this case melee, short, long, and dodge. These are your basic attacks and defense. And of course backpacks, different things. You can also carry items into battle as well, which helps for dealing with various things. In fact, I should, hop in some extra stuff. And let's throw in a smoke grenade while I'm at it too. As you can imagine, I am now going to have to do that to all of these guys, because they've all been very busy. Throw in these repair things, and smoke grenade. So yeah, this is potentially an issue, as you can imagine, simply because the sheer amount of stuff. When I said this was a faithful remake of the original Front Mission First, I wasn't kidding. This is an older game with a very new coat of paint, which is to say, a lot of the quality of life stuff you see in strategy RPGs these days, like an auto-equip button that brings your mech up to snuff based on your currently available loadout. Well, no, you're not going to get that. If you forget to re-equip a whole bunch of stuff, there's nothing that's going to be reminding you of it either. And despite the fact that having the mouse really speeds things up, you do need to go through a lot of menus in order to... Okay, she doesn't have to worry about that then, I guess. Yeah, she's cool. You're going to have to go through a lot of menus in order to go through everything and re-equip all the stuff you do. Which, okay, frankly, I don't mind all that much, but I can think of a lot of people who find that rather annoying, let's face facts. So, it all depends on your patience for a lot of old school gaming traditions. Alright, do I still have... Yeah, okay, I really should have done this before starting to record, shouldn't I? But you get my point. This could take a little while. Oh, it's too bad. Kong, the new guy I just got, he's a melee focused guy. The way things work, as we'll demonstrate once I go in the arena to demonstrate combat a bit, is that it's basically a rock, paper, scissors kind of deal. Long goes before short. Short goes before melee. Melee goes before long. Generally. There are some special skills you can acquire as you level up your different capabilities, which level up based on which ones get used. So if you use a lot of short range weapons like machine guns, rifles, shotguns, those kinds of things, then your short skill is going to gradually improve. If you use a lot of missile launchers, your long skill is going to improve. And if you just, put a lot of mech fisticuffs or, these tonfas and start smashing things in the face, then it's your melee skill. And of course, dodging incoming fire helps with that. What helps with that, of course, is the shields that you can also equip on your shoulders instead of missile launchers. Those are kind of handy. Oh god, he doesn't have anything. Bastard. Alright, let's put on some mediums on these guys. Yeah, let's throw a flash grenade. No, let's throw a smoke grenade on this guy. Alright, that's everybody. You generally don't need to do this all the time. But for instance, when you go to the shop, this is the Wanzer dealer. He always looks like this. It's funny. So yeah, you can go either, purchase while setting up, which is a good thing, because you can then immediately equip whatever you were buying straight onto your mech. But yeah, you have a wide variety of different weapons, ranging from, like, machine guns, various single-shot rifles, grenade launchers. Ooh, F3 hand rod, that's new. Okay, we're definitely gonna buy this there. Different weapons, 5x5. Ooh, okay, that's pretty good, actually. The most for 24. Okay, we're definitely buying some of these. Okay. Because that, I got a couple of people who specialize in melee. It's gonna be handy to have. And 5x5. Oh, okay, let's...
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's take a look at setup here. So let's take a look at... So, as you can see, go over your different weapons, and you can then select whichever one, including flamethrowers. It's pretty fun. So whichever weapon, these weapons have different characteristics, both in terms of accuracy and in terms of the kind of damage they do. So for instance, the Nailfire Flamethrower here fires one attack at 20 damage, 78% accuracy, and has a range of 1 space. The, let's see, and yeah, the Grave S here is machine gun, fires 4 shots per attack, each one with 8 damage. So, depending on the kind of weapon you're using, you can end up hitting a wide variety of parts of the enemy mech, such as with a machine gun, or a single area, but with higher damage, in the case of a rifle or with melee strikes. And, of course, these ones have different ranges. The bazookas and grenade launchers are multi-purpose, which is to say they can be used short and long, although they typically have lower accuracy as a result. So this one can be used from 1 to 4 spaces away, versus shoulder-mounted weapons such as the Egret or the Goliath here, which can be used from 3 to 6 spaces away. So there is a bit of a dead zone if you get too close. Also, you'll note the ammunition icon there on the far right. Shoulder-mounted weapons have limited uses, so you do have to take that into account. Now, there is a way of refilling your ammo in the field, but we'll get to that. Also, these shields, which increase your defense when they're used to defend. So, let's see. I want to take a look at left hand. Where was that Monstro? Okay, so 5x5, slightly less attack, but also less weight, which means I could potentially pack some heavier stuff somewhere else. That's kind of useful. However, I think we'll stick to the current loadout. So, come back soon here. So let's take a look at some combat here in the arena. So how does this work? You decide who you want to send into battle of your different people. This is a good way of also leveling up your characters, since you can basically just, send them into fight, and it doesn't cost you anything to have, your mechs repaired. You don't have to worry about ammunition or anything like that in this game. So you can just, pick, say, Ryo here, Ryuji here in his Ryo mech. And then you have to pick somebody to fight. Typically, you want to look at the odds. So, for instance, this guy, Demon 5 in a Z-Raid mech, his odds are 2.48 versus this guy who is, lady, the Breaker, in an Orcus 1 who is 1.30. Higher the odds, the more money you make if you win. So, simple as that. This guy's in a Crabasant 2. Screw it, let's give this guy a shot. Extreme bet. Alright. So I equipped this guy with Hexafire railguns, which are very, very nasty. Ooh, this guy's got very much going for the gun tank look. Okay. I think I'm going to soften him up with some missile fire first. Okay, so this thing's rapid fire. And, ooh, took out his legs. Yeah, you really did not know who you were going up against, did you? Those railguns are really good at taking out legs. Once you've gotten to this point in the game, after liberating Freedom City, which is the main capital of Huffman Island, you get access to some really good, really accurate rifles, which are really good at taking out limbs. Now, what happens when this happens? This guy currently, if we were on the main battlefield with, grid map, would have limited mobility due to the fact that his legs are just destroyed. And also, when an arm is destroyed, all the weapons on it are unusable. Not just the ones you're holding, but also any of them that you might have on your shoulder. So you have to bear that in mind. You sometimes want to spread out the weapons that you're using so you don't lose everything just because one arm got taken out. That's a rule of thumb right there. Let's take this guy out. And of course, if both... Alright, level up. Nice. I won the match and made a bunch of money. So basically, this guy gives me 2-to-1 odds, which is always good. So not only does this allow you to make some cash, and some pretty good cash if you know what you're doing. You can find somebody that you can defeat relatively easily while also, you know, betting high on it. But also it helps you increase your skills if you feel like you're not doing as well. Now, there's one guy back in Grey Rock City that's really good for that, for early gaming, a guy named Snowbird. Yeah, you can really just humiliate that guy over and over if you know what you're doing. It is funny as hell. But yeah, that is basically how it works in there. Now, as you level up your different skills, you'll also develop other skills. So, for instance, this Royd here fired enough missiles to getting the Guide level 3 skill. Guide means that he can now select whichever part of the mech he wants to shoot with his missiles, long-range weapons, at a slight accuracy penalty. So if you want to aim at a specific body part, take out the arms, take out the legs, body, go straight for the body, you can now directly target those areas. Other people have skills, let's see. Meihua here has double, which is a melee skill. So long as she has 2 melee weapons, when she attacks with one, if it triggers a skill, she can then make an immediate attack with the other one as well. And of course, Paul here also has Guide. And Alder here has another melee guy. He's got Stun, which can temporarily incapacitate enemy Wanzers once he punches them. Takes them a little while to wake up. And Gregorio here does too, only he's way more dangerous with melee. Really, this game is very simple, as we'll see also when I get to the actual... Yeah, oh, cool, I got the mission right here. Perfect. Okay, so let's take a look. First of all, let's do a quick save. There we go. Alright. Leave town. Let's go on a mission here. So normally when you go through the official channels to get your missions, the Commander Olsen will tell you everything you need to know, basic information, you know, enemy loadouts, that kind of thing. In this case, well, since we're just following a rumor, we don't get that. Oh. Incoming enemies. Uh-oh. There's nothing on sensors. What's this? Weren't the OCU troops assigned to this zone all sent to the front? Call off the demolition teams. We need to get rid of these Aussies first. Defend the dam. Don't let them destroy it. Alright. So from here, we decide who we want to send on the mission. Of course, why would you want to send anything less than your full squad? Because otherwise you're going to be seriously outnumbered. So, go into battle. So we've got everybody, including this guy, Pee-wee. Now, Pee-wee was the subject of an escort mission early on in the game, but then, you know, after a bit of desertion, after, you know, running away from the enemy, he joined our troops instead, our mercenary group instead. He's in a supply truck. The supply truck, when it's directly next to another mech, will slowly heal it, including destroyed limbs. So that is really good. It also allows you to resupply on ammunition if you select it after, you know, stopping your movement. And can also be used to change out your loadout in terms of weapons and even parts if you have the, you know, them already in your inventory somewhere. So this guy is very useful. Also, he comes with a little machine gun on the front. Not, you know, top of the line stuff, but still useful for finishing off enemies, especially once you've blown off their arms, so they can't really do much to attack. But alright, so let's see. We've got these guys over here, Commander over there. Let's move up Royd here, and he can attack with long range. Let's go with the Goldius here. So, we can now decide what we want to blow off. This guy comes equipped with machine guns. I think this is a single shot rifle, and a pretty nasty one at that. But let's take care of this one because it's also got that missile launcher. Yes! Perfect. Ooh, hey, nice. Always love seeing that. Okay, Ryuji. He's got his own missile launcher. Although he is not as experienced with it, but oh, yeah, doing pretty good. Primrose here. Natalie Blakewood, our second in command technically. Can't quite reach that part. You can always back out so long as you haven't, completed your attack or just, hit end on your turn. So I can instead move her here, and hopefully, yeah, there we go. She'll be able to attack as well. So yeah, the Ignaut's Bazooka here is also available for long-range attacks, as is the Egret, but as you can see, the accuracy in it is not quite as good. Plus, this one fires 2 shots at 22 damage each, of course, for a limited amount. So, pick your poison. Ah. So, it even did some damage even though it missed. Nice. Alright, so I think this guy... Alright. We should probably send some people up here because I don't know what these guys are doing up there. So, different... I should probably demonstrate this as well. As you can see in the corner up there, there are different types of terrain. So grass here provides 8% cover, which increases your defense. And you can see that everything except for tires and hover vehicles have a certain amount of spaces they can move, so to speak. So concrete is really, really good, as you can see, for, pretty much everything, especially treads and legs. You also have, grass, dirt, ruins is another one, accessible, of course. Water, or river, hard to maneuver, especially for tread legs, offers no noticeable cover. So it takes 4 move, so to speak, to get across one space of normal. One space of river terrain, versus 3 for grass, and if we had to hover or tires, 2. So depending on the kind of movement system that you have equipped, such as for instance these guys with treads, you can cover significantly more ground. Let's get Paul up here. Also, elevation is an issue, since certain vehicles can only traverse lightly inclined elevations versus, more strict ones. Okay, still not within range. Okay, well, let's just send these guys up here then. These guys, let's see, Frederick here. Send him over here. Hopefully finish off this guy. Okay, not finished off, but he's not moving very fast. Let's get these guys in position. The supply trucks used to look more like normal trucks in the original front mission first. Here they're kind of like this weird, I don't know, spider truck thing, which kind of makes sense if the back is supposed to lift up to provide, repair facilities for Wanzers in the field and stuff like that. And I suppose the legs are really good for climbing over, uneven terrain and such, but still kind of looks weird, let's face facts. Okay, this guy he's got good momentum. So I feel I should probably mention the obvious. The look of the game, it very much looks like a graphically updated version of the old game, as you can imagine. I have heard some complaints of people who don't like this particular look, because it looks kind of like a bit too plastic diorama in certain ways. Personally, I kind of like it. It makes everything feel like this big, I don't know, like tabletop war game kind of scenario, which I kind of dig. But I can understand if people, would prefer something that looks a little bit less, I should put this blocky, I suppose the thing to say. Let's use that shield for additional protection. So you saw those 2 zeros. Shields will actually negate hits on occasion, so... Oh, that's a big one. Which helps. Not only does it increase your defense, but it can actually neutralize certain hits. Oh, you just made a mistake. Should not have come closer. Alright. But as you can see, going through a river slows you down quite a bit. Alright. Let's take out the other arm, I guess. Haha, nice. It actually pays to just dismember these guys as much as possible, simply because you get more XP that way. Otherwise, if you take him out very quickly, you get some XP for destroying for every component you destroy. And if you just keep picking them apart like a fly whose legs are being pulled off, one, it's not very nice, I know, but it is very, very effective in getting you to level up pretty good. Alright, blow this guy apart. Ooh. So yeah, missileer guys, who are, mostly long-range missiles and such, as you can imagine from the name, typically attack in melee when they're not busy shooting you with missiles. And this guy isn't going... Oh, okay, he's got another one there. Which means your best bet with those guys is get up close to kind of lock them down a bit. Let's fire on this guy. Nice. And just get up there. I've equipped most of these guys with missile launchers because you never know when you're going to be just out of reach. There we go. Let's... I can't reach there. Yeah, there he can reach. This guy specializes in long range. Let's take out this. Unfortunately, there is that accuracy penalty for using guides, so yeah, you win some, you lose some, you know what I mean? Alright, this guy can't reach. Let's bring you in a bit closer. It helps to gang up on these guys. Okay, this guy we can practically leave him alone at this point. Let's bring this up. And finally, you can go up here. Alright. Ooh, shotgun hurts. Nice, but punching hurts more. Okay. There. So as you can see there, because she used a short-range weapon versus his melee, the melee went after, even though he was the attacker. That can change depending on the skills you have. There's a skill with regards to melee that allows you to go first regardless, so it's good to bear that in mind. So yeah, as we just saw there. There we go. Of course, there is no defense other than, just guarding when someone attacks you from that range. This game is fun. It's very simple compared to the next couple of front mission games. Those ones, started having some other things like, action points and various things like that added in. So, yes, this game is far more simple and has a lot less depth than the further games in the series. Front Mission 2 is definitely also getting a remake. I don't know exactly when that one's coming out. There was some delays, but it's looking very good from the trailers I've been able to see so far, the footage. However, one thing I like about this is the fact that it's very simple. This is, it's not very complicated. You move, you act. Either whether you're using an item or just attacking anything that's within your range. It's a very simple game. It doesn't require, it's a very good introduction, I think, to strategy RPGs because it is that simple. It's got enough depth in terms of the customization you can do. And, there's the old cheese factor still exists. This was, one of the first strategy RPGs ever made for Square. So, some of that shows. For instance, the short weapons are very much the best weapons after a certain point, along with long ones. And it is very easy to cheese the arena to get yourself a whole bunch of money and, really help yourself grind yourself to success if you ever find the mission's too difficult. Although you can also adjust the difficulty at the start of the mission. And the other campaign, because there are two campaigns in this game. The first one is from the OCU perspective, from Roy Clive's perspective. The other one is from the perspective of another guy working for the UCS, a guy named Kevin and his Special Forces unit, Kevin Greenfield. And basically you get both sides of the conflict and different perspective on the events, which is something I like a lot. Not just in this kind of game, but for any kind of game, really. Where you have not necessarily the branching paths that we'll see in other later front mission games, but this kind of thing where you have like certain events that don't get explained in one campaign path, but in the next, all of a sudden, oh, now that makes sense. You're now seeing the inciting incidents and the reasons for those things. That odd horror / survival game Pathologic was a master at that one. If you ever played that one, really recommend that one, and Pathologic 2 especially. Yeah, that one's definitely worth looking at. Let's see about finishing this mission. Alright, there we go. Boom. One of these days he's going to get a skill for something. I'm hoping he gets double. Either dual, which is the targeting skill, or switch, which is another one that lets you put in extra attack from your other offhand weapon whenever you successfully use a short weapon. It's definitely kind of cool. And just gotta shoot you some more. Yeah, let's bring out the knouts. Yeah, that was worthless. Yeah, unfortunately, as you can imagine. Alright, let's get it up here. Yeah, and all this, of course, without, bringing in the other options. I haven't even shown them off yet. So here you can actually rotate, look down, up and down. This works really well, except in urban environments, I find, because then there's a lot of those buildings getting in the way. But here I can, go the full, almost full 360 here. And with the press of a button, tactical map. This allows you to not only see all the different terrain cover, all the information, you can also look at particular enemies. This is his range of movement, range for his missile launcher, range for his other missile launcher, range for his machine gun, and his other machine gun. And the same thing goes for my own people. Which is very handy for actually looking around. So you don't actually have to, zoom out and zoom in and try to track exactly where everything is. Although I will say, zooming in is a pleasure, because look at how detailed everything looks. Like if I can just click off of this one. Click on here. Look how cool even these little models, even in the attack mode. You can't see their weapons, unfortunately. I mean, they're not holding them. But still, that is really cool. It's all the little details like this, having little birds flying around. Water effects look really good. It kind of reminds me of that remake of Link's Awakening, where everything had that kind of diorama, kind of plastic model feel to it. Which, there it was very cute. Here it feels like a tabletop war game. Like someone just took all this meticulously designed, painted, and sculpted terrain, plopped it on a table, put their little miniatures on there, and just decided to have a little fun evening. I dig it, So let's continue where we left off here. Let's just blow the shit out of these bastards. Attack. I'm gonna punch you in the face. Double, here we go. Nice. That is the double skill in action. Alright, here we go, for instance. Change equipment. Since we're right next to Pee-wee and his supply truck, I can demonstrate this. So we can resupply ammunition to our missile launchers. Use items if we want to. Or change equipment. We can switch out our entire loadout. The weapons, items, you name it. So you can't change out parts, really. Although you could replace, busted up ones. But you can switch out your weapons if you need to, if you discover that one you're using isn't appropriate for the situation. Great stuff right there. But I'm not going to need that, because I'm still fairly well equipped. Oh. Switch back over to Oh, did that actually... I think it actually... Okay. So Paul is currently no longer active because I actually went through my inventory like that. That does cost me a turn if I don't do anything. Okay, that's good to know. Let's get this guy up here. Punch the hell out of this guy instead. Ow. Oh, and he's stunned. There we go. Even better. So now I can just get this guy, walk right up to him, and shoot him in the face. Perfect. So there's good synergy. You bring in your stun guy. Uh-oh, we got incoming. You bring in your stun guys to knock an enemy out for a bit, then bring the other guys in with the heavier weapons, but maybe not necessarily the most armor to be able to take them out like that. Alright, so... what has he got? He's got the hunter. Fire that. Fire at will. And he's down. Nice. Alright. So we got these guys to deal with. Frederick? Go make yourself part of the story here. Good effort. Alright, he doesn't have any long-range weapons. Are there any enemies up here? There are not. At least not for now. Alright, so let's get everybody down again. There's a good variety in terms of the missions. You know, certain missions are escorts, others are just go in here and destroy everybody. Some of them are timed missions, like an early one with you have to destroy some SAM launchers within 10 turns to prevent them from taking out an incoming bombing raid. Okay, this guy I can pretty much ignore because he's not doing anything, so let's just... ah, screw it. Who's got the best movement? Oh, I guess I haven't got a choice here. Just shoot this guy. There we go. And boom. If this guy was just a little bit closer, I could demonstrate Pee-wee just gunning them down. That'd be funny. Alright. Well, let's bring him over here, say. Cute little bug. Alright, let's get everybody moving back over here. Oh, incoming missiles. Eh, not too bad. Those shields really are worth their weight in Huffman bucks. Nice. And you still get experience to your dodge score, even though you do that. Alright, so... alright, what has he got? This guy has... don't know what he's got, actually. Well, you just do no guide and make sure you hit something, so... nice. Alright, so this guy is short range for the most part, so... hit this guy with some railguns. Oh, damn, he missed. Ah, so did he. Good. Alright. Let's see. 2 missile guys. Oh, that did some good damage. Ooh. Her right arm could use some repairs. These guys are dumb enough to come within range, so... missile away. Ah. Nice. So that guy's gonna be down. No. No ability to target these guys. Okay, so this guy still has one arm with an active weapon. Let's target this guy instead. Yeah, better than nothing. I find that the game gets a lot, not necessarily easier, but a lot more reliable as you go on, as your accuracy increases from, newer, better parts. And also simply due to the fact that at the start of the game, without special skills to increase your accuracy or give special abilities, and with your low skills and low levels and the weapons you have, well, you're going to end up, shooting enemies and not necessarily hitting or not doing that much damage. But as time goes on, things get a lot better. And you start really feeling like a squad of total badasses. No. Alright, let's stay right. No, actually, come down here. There we go. Now I'm within range. Ah. Ow. Of course, you're not invincible, as you can see. These mechs, the weapons do a lot of damage, and these mechs, given the fact that they have like multiple smaller HP pools rather than one big one, except for things called mobile weapons, which are these really ginormous mechs, which are basically all 1 HP pool. You can find yourself losing arms and legs very quickly if you're not careful, especially if you don't upgrade your mechs properly as time goes on. So it is worth paying attention to that. You don't have to necessarily upgrade everything. I recommend start with the body, then the arms, then the legs, in that order. That way, you still have the ability, with Pee-wee's help, to regenerate your limbs as time goes on, so you don't necessarily lose complete efficiency, and you still make a good meat shield, even if you're nothing but a torso. However, it is very important to upgrade your weapons, because otherwise, well, you're going to find yourself in trouble. Like this bastard here. Oh crap, there's a lot of these guys. Oh boy. Alright, so anyway, I've gone on long enough. You've probably seen enough to see whether or not this game is interesting enough for you. The story, basically nothing has changed really, other than a few small quality of life changes. A few, the graphics, the camera positioning, the tactical map and stuff like that, graphics. Everything else is exactly like the original Front Mission First, which is exactly like the original Front Mission plus another campaign. Whether or not you find this game has enough depth, or if the particular style of strategy RPG is for you, well, I leave that to your own discretion. For me, this is fun. It's not too complicated, which means I can spend like an hour a day just, plugging in a mission or two, just, enjoying myself. Having fun watching these mechs get completely wrecked as I blast them to bits with railgun and missile fire. I mean, I'm enjoying the hell out of this thing. Plus, the story is actually very good. It's, it's definitely got that, what's characterized the Front Mission games throughout. A lot of geopolitics, a lot of, realistic conflict with, of course, fantastical giant robots. But, the characters are good too. I like the, interactions between them. I haven't found any of the characters that I've encountered so far annoying. The main villain is nice and a nice enough bastard that you really want to be able to kick his ass, which you will not be able to do, trust me. When he does show up in an earlier mission, yeah, do not go up against him or you're going to get yourself wrecked in one shot. And especially if you go after him with Royd, because if Royd goes down, well, it's game over. Everybody else, the worst that happens is you have to pay to repair their Wanzers at the end of the mission, along with, what you get paid for the mission itself, plus, bonuses for all the kills you do. Well, Front Mission First. I like this game, and I highly recommend picking it up. It's currently going for like 40 bucks Canadian on Steam, which is where I got it. Your local equivalent will vary, but I think it's very well worth going in there. Oop. Oh, you little bastard. Yeah, how you like that? Yeah, enjoy that. It is very much well worth your time, and I highly recommend it. I have been Zero Sum, this has been Front Mission First, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
All primary objectives complete. Mission successful.